Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Chris, and I'm here for my first upload on YouTube. I used to upload a couple years ago, but because of time and just general losing interest in what was going on, I stopped for a while, but I'm here to start up again. And hopefully you like my content. I'm going to be doing mostly like Pokemon Showdown lives, probably having my friend Scott in from time to time, but I figured let me start off with a solo live, which today we're going to be using a somewhat, like a pretty offensive team for that I actually built the other day for Ubers that like I said, I wanted to use the core of Salamence and Mega Salamence and Rayquaza, which I really like that idea. Plus I saw that Surf completely nukes Primal Groudon, which is something that is hysterical. Special Defensive Primal Groudon. What is it? Calm Mind, Refresh, Arceus Dark. The speed is enough to outspeed Latios and Latias. Special Defensive Klefki, and Scarf Genesect, who's really underrated right now. And with that, let's get into a battle. I'm pretty low on the ladder with this account, at least. I've been mostly testing the accounts through alts, so we'll see what kind of quality battles we get. If we end up getting complete noobs, well, it'll be kind of funny. We'll see, but till then, I'm going to pause until we find a battle, so I'll be back in a second. And on the topic of running into noobs, let's see how this ends up going. So I could definitely, I'm just gonna leave with my Genesect. Genesect just puts in a lot of work against him, and he's more than likely running Mega Kangaskhan. We'll end up seeing he might end up having Mega Gengar, but then he would have normal Kangaskhan, which is very questionable. But he leads off with the Gengar. I lead off with my Genesect, as I said. I'm just gonna go straight for a safe U-turn. I really have nothing to risk, and it allows me to get a free switch into my Groudon, which, unless this Gengar is, as he tricks me, a Scarf, which I'm also Choice Scarf, good to know. Now I can get a free switch into my Primal Groudon, and because he can't trick me, which is good, and because I know he's Trick, he more than likely doesn't have Taunt, so I'm going to be able to get up my Stealth Rocks, which is going to be really nice, because Stealth Rocks just really hurts his team. Especially the Dragonite, because yeah, he has 3 things weak to Stealth Rocks and no potential Defogger. So yeah, we're in a pretty good spot here. Gonna just put the timer on him because I don't want him stalling out forever just because he realizes he's playing Ubers. Yeah, not exactly what I figured for the first battle, as he just goes for the Shadow Ball. That's honestly fine. A little annoying that he got that special defense drop, but it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to go into my Arceus Dark and try to win now. So, if he stays in and goes for Shadow Ball, which wouldn't be a terrible play, he doesn't know what kind of Arceus I am, because of course you don't find out what kind of Arceus the opponent has until they switch in. Now reveals to him that I am Arceus Dark, and I can just get a free Calm Mind on this. He really shouldn't be able to do anything against me. This should be a pretty clean Arceus Dark sweep. Let's see how he responds to this. If I were him, well, besides I probably wouldn't be running half these Pokemon, but if I were him, he either has to go into... He either has to go straight into his Rhyperior, or possibly the Arcanine, I'm not really sure. But let's see what he ends up doing. As he does go straight into the Rhyperior, which is perfectly fine. I'm a little worried about the Mega Horn, but I'm just gonna go for the Judgment anyway. Unless he's Choice Banded and has the Mega Horn, he really shouldn't be able to do too much. So I'm not really, and if he ends up like living and going for Roar or Dragon Tail, it's not really the biggest deal in the world. So we're just going to go straight for the Judgment, see how much it does. I end up scoring a crit, which is pretty good for me. It's really good for me. I won't know what kind of Rhyperior he was because I just flat out knock him out, but I'm in prime position to sweep. So he ends up going back into the Gengar. Let's see if he ends up having Focus Blast. Unless he crits me, he shouldn't be able to knock me out. If he tries to trick me, you can't trick a plate off, as he has the Dazzling Gleam. That doesn't do anything, and I'm able to knock him out. So yeah, Arceus Dark more than likely getting us our first win. So yeah, just a matter of seeing if he stays in this battle or not. As he does go into the Kangaskhan. Now, I don't have Will-O-Wisp on this Arceus. I'm actually running Refresh for status control. I'm just going to go straight for the Judgment. I really don't think I have any reason not to. He probably could end up knocking me out. Like, he has to go straight for the Fake Out. Try to live. Yeah, he does go straight for the Fake Out. He's got to try to live. I'm not really that concerned with trying to preserve the 6-0 this game. It would be a little annoying because he does have the Mega Kangaskhan. I'm just going to go straight for the Judgment. I really have no reason not to, because I still have my Salamence in the back. I'm not really too worried about this Kangaskhan at all. So I'm just going to go straight for a Judgment. If he switches out, I'll just recover. He does stay in as he goes for the Power-Up Punch, which is a little annoying, but it shouldn't really be that big of a deal because I do have priority on my team in the form of E-Speed from my Rayquaza. So, do I want to be real and just go for the Recover, expecting him to go for Sucker Punch? Yeah, I think I'm going to make that play. I have no reason not to, if you know what I mean. Because if he does go for the Sucker Punch, which he does, I'll easily be able to live, and that just guaranteed us our sweep. So I can just go straight, and like I said, even if he knocked me out, I still had E-Speed in the back, so, and my Rayquaza's Life Orb, so that's not really that big of a deal. I can just go for Judgment now, and I should be in a prime position to win. No double crits or anything, so, and even if he did get double crit, it shouldn't be a big deal. And at this point, all I have to watch out for is a little bit of priority from my opponent, but I should be in a good position to just win. So let's see what he ends up doing. If he does go to the Dragonite, I'm just going to stay in Judgment so that he can't get up a Dragon Dance, and then I can just revenge him with as he does go into the Arceus. Not the Arceus, he goes into the Dragonite. I'm just going to go for a Judgment, see what ends up happening, because if he does set up a Dragon Dance, I still have my Rayquaza and my Genesect in the back, so that shouldn't really be that big of a deal. And if he does just go for the Extreme Speed, he manages not to knock me out, and I'm able to knock out the Dragonite. So, looking like a clean sweep right at the beginning. I know I'm just kind of repeating myself at this point, but you know what? We're at the bottom of the Ubers ladder, and I have to give this guy credit. I have to give my opponent credit. He is running not the worst team I've seen. I've seen some really weird stuff down at the bottom of the Ubers ladder. It's actually kind of funny, but let's just go straight for the Judgment. Like I said, I'm not really that concerned by getting a 6-0 this game. I probably could if I wanted to, but I really have no reason to mess around, as he doesn't go for the Extreme Speed, and it's looking like I'm going to get a 6-0 this game. Unless that's like Scarf Gyarados, but you know what, if he is Scarf Gyarados, it doesn't even matter. It really doesn't. So, come on dude, and he forfeits. Okay, good game. Okay, and Showdown's just glitchy, so I just gotta pick it. Able to get the win. And let's look for another battle. And we're able to find one right away. And let's see what kind of team my opponent has. If Showdown, whatever. Okay. I see a lot of things that don't like fire. Unfortunately, I don't have any fire attacks on this entire team. The good thing is, if I can set up with my Salamence, I should be in a prime position to win. It's not gonna be the easiest thing in the world, but it shouldn't be too bad. I also am in a good position with my Arceus Dark. So let's see what we can do. I could lead with my Clef Key. Clef Key does help me quite a bit. I could also lead with my Gen. Yeah, I think I'm gonna lead with my Genesect. If I have to sack the Darmanitan right away, it's not the end of the world as he leads with Fortress. That's honestly fine. One of the biggest problems with this team that I'm running is I don't actually have a Defogger on it because it's a very offensive team. But I'm also running Hazard Stack, so I do have to be careful that he doesn't get up too many entry hazards. But I should be in a good enough spot to where he shouldn't be able to do too much damage to me as he ends up red carding me into Klefki. That kind of sucks, actually. Unfortunately, I think I'm stuck in a position where I actually have to hard switch. The good thing is, with the exception of my Arceus and my Groudon, my team doesn't care about Toxic Spikes at all, and Arceus does have Refresh, so it's not that big of a deal. I just have to be careful with my Groudon. I think at this point I'm actually going to go straight into my Salamence and just fire off a Frustration. I think it just looks like my best play because nothing on his team really wants to take it, as he just sets up the Stealth Rocks, which honestly that's fine. You know what? Can I just go for Dragon Dance? I think I can. I really don't risk anything. The only thing that I potentially risk is if he goes straight into Whimsicott, but I don't think he's going to do that. So I'm just going to go for the Dragon Dance. If he does go into the Whimsicott, I'm going to be forced to switch out, but you know what? You don't win. You can't win them all. As he just goes for the Explosion. Okay, if he goes straight into the Whimsicott, I'm going to be forced to switch because I do not want to get Encored into Dragon Dance. If he goes into anything else, I should be in a prime position to win. So let's see what he ends up doing. Hopefully he goes in the Whimsicott. He does. And I'm forced into my Genesect at this point. Actually, no, I don't want to go to my Genesect. I want to go to my Groudon. Cancel button doesn't work, unfortunately, sometimes, as he just goes for the Encore. That's a little unfortunate. Let's actually... I could go for the U-turn, but Genesect is actually really important. I should have went straight to my Groudon before. So let's actually scout out for the Stun Spore. I don't think he's gonna have it because he does have the Toxic Spikes, but as he ends up having Protect, which honestly that's fine. I think I'm just gonna go straight for the Stealth Rock. My Groudon is actually special defensive, and if he goes for Protect to try to rack up more toxic damage, I'm in a pretty good spot. But I don't know if he's gonna stay in, fearing the Lava Plume, which I don't actually have as he goes for Substitute. That's annoying. That's actually really annoying. The good thing is that I'm like 90% sure at this point he doesn't have Stun Spore, because we've seen Substitute, Protect, Encore. He's got to have Leech Seed. It's the only thing that makes sense. So at this point, I'm pretty sure I can just go straight into my Genesect and just U-turn. It's looking like a pretty good play at this point. I can just U-turn as he's forced to go for any non-attacking move. I'll be able to get him without any worries, because he's going to be forced to probably go for Leech Seed this turn or Protect for some reason. So let's just go straight for a U-turn. I really don't risk anything. He does go for the Leech Seed. I'm able to break his Substitute, and now I can get a free switch into... Do I want to go to my Salamence? I feel like I do. Yeah, I can just fire off a Frustration. I really don't risk anything. So, let's see what ends up happening. I do go into my Salamence, and this is a very free opportunity to go for Frustration, so it's exactly what I'm going to do. And at this point, he doesn't have any switch-ins. If I were him, he probably still values his Darmanitan. He goes straight for the Substitute. I'm not exactly sure why. I mean, I guess if he expected me to go for Dragon Dance, but I already saw him go for the Encore, so Dragon Dance and Roost were both bad plays. By clicking Frustration, I'm in a really good spot as he goes for Protect. I guess he just wanted to get the extra leftovers. I'm just going to click Frustration again. If he goes into either the Scizor or the Darmanitan, the Scizor is not going to appreciate it, and I'll just proceed, and I'll just go for Roost against it, as he does bring in the Scizor. Takes a clean 74%. I'm just going to go for the Roost. If he wants to double back into Whimsicott expecting that, that's perfectly fine. I'm not concerned by that, as he goes for Bullet Punch. And I think I'm in a good spot to win this game at this point. I'm just going to try to set up a Dragon Dance. Unless he goes straight into Whimsicott right now, it's looking like I'm going to get a sweep. As he does stay in and he goes for Roost. That's not the best play in the world. I'm just going to spam Frustration at this point. I have no reason not to. I think I just win. As he goes straight into Whimsicott. Yeah, now I definitely just win. Because I don't need more than +1, and unless he brings in his Mew, and his Mew is like really physically defensive and hits me with a Will-O-Wisp, I'm just in a prime position to win. He brings in the Darmanitan. Obviously has to be Scarf Darmanitan. I'm just going to go for the Frustration. Puts me in a good spot. Takes out the Darmanitan. And it's looking like game. So let's see what ends up doing. He does end up forfeiting. So yeah, my game. Good game to my opponent. And let's find another game. Luckily, I'm able to find games right away, and that is a weird. Why is my opponent running 4 potential Megas? I'm not really sure. But you know what? Again, it's low ladder Ubers. Let's see. Okay, so I'm just gonna lead right off with my Genesect again. It matches up against most of his team, as he leads with Swampert, which, honestly, that's fine. I can just U-turn out. I do have a pretty safe switch in with my Rayquaza, and then I can just click Dragon Ascent. He could bring in the Metagross, but I don't know if he's gonna do it, considering most Rayquaza end up running either V-Create, Overheat, or Fire Blast. But mine actually doesn't. I'm running Dragon Ascent, and as he goes for Blizzard, and misses. That's fortunate for me, unfortunate for my opponent. I'm not sure why he's running Blizzard. I'm just gonna fire up a Dragon Ascent. I will absolutely capitalize on a missed Blizzard from a Swampert. As he goes into the Charizard, Rock Slide is stronger. I might as well. I guarantee a kill by doing Dragon Ascent though, as I get a crit. If he set up, I would have just gone to the Extreme Speed and it would have been fine. If he does go into the Groudon, I'm going to be able to kill it with a Surf. Unfortunate for my opponent that I'm able to get this much hacks between the missed Blizzard, which is still kind of funny, and destroying him with Dragon Ascent. But I just don't, I'm going to capitalize if bad things happen. I have no reason not to. And now I'm just going to go into my Clef Key because I can paralyze this Dragonite. I really don't risk anything by doing so, as he goes for Draco Meteor. Okay. I'm just going to click Thunder Wave. He goes straight into Sceptile. You don't have Lightning Rod yet, sir. And I think I'm just going to go for Spikes because these are very free Spikes, as he goes for the Leech Storm. Okay. Let's just set up another layer of Spikes. Luckily get paralyzed. Set up one more. I can get up all 3 layers of Spikes, which is good for me, as he goes for the Dragon Pulse. You know, I'm just gonna click Play Rough. I've gotten up all 3 layers of Spikes already and paralyzed this Sceptile. I have no idea what he's trying to accomplish at this point. If it's not just simply getting 6-0'd. Because I'm in a prime position to 6-0 him. I don't understand why he's making some of these plays. They just don't make any sense. But, yet again, it's low ladder Ubers. What did you expect? So I'm just gonna pause it until my opponent times out or comes back. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so my opponent just timed out. There was no way he was coming back from that. So let's look for another game. Getting close, a little over the 20-minute mark. So we'll end up seeing where this goes, and I see. Okay, 3 points. I will always appreciate that. Let's look for another game. Obviously, my opponent must have chosen the wrong tier, and finally, we see a nice and standard Ubers team. Okay. The good thing is he really doesn't like Mega Salamence at all, and my I said if I'm careful with my Klefki, I should be fine. Arceus Dark isn't going to be putting in too much work considering he's got the Blaziken and the Xerneas, but I still need it to. I have to be careful. Rayquaza gets a kill most of the time it comes in, but I do need it for the priority. I think I'm just going to lead right off with my Genesect. I don't want him leading with the Blaziken, as he does just lead with the Xerneas, which is fine. I'm just going to click Iron Head because it's first turn. I am not over-predicting, and if I can get rid of this Xerneas early, I'm in a really good spot, which I am able to. And again, I'm in a really good spot right now. If he does go straight into the Kyogre, I can just bring in my Groudon as he brings in the Blaziken. Good play. I can just bring in my Salamence at this point, which if he doesn't have Stone Edge and crits me as he goes for Overheat. Okay, I haven't seen a special Blaziken since 4th Gen Yu-Yu. So I'm just gonna Mega up. And do I want to go for game already? I feel like I might want to. Sorry about that, for whatever reason the screen scrolled down. So. I think I'm just gonna go straight for... Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go straight for the Frustration. I really have no reason not to. As he goes for Substitute. I guess if he's some, like, weird Baton Pass set, I guess, he's gonna... I'm just gonna Dragon Dance. He's at -1. I have no reason not to as he goes into Kyogre. Beautiful shiny Primal Kyogre, by the way. But I'm just gonna hit it with a Frustration and try to knock it out. Now, this Salamence is actually running a lot of HP investment in order for me to... And as I get a crit, I think this is the most hacks I've gotten in one short session like this in I don't know how long. And he does bring in the Lugia. I'm actually gonna run a damage cal because I'm not sure if that crit mattered. So Mega Salamence versus Kyogre, Primal Kyogre. I'm not running max attack. I'm only running 132 attack. That gives me enough attack to outcode normal Latios. But I am at +1, so it's fine. As, yeah, that was an easy kill, unless he was running fully invested. So, at this point, I really don't want to risk him possibly going for the Thunder Wave. So, I'm just going to go into my Groudon. I'm perfectly willing to abandon the boost, considering I can set up on the E-Killer later, as he has Psycho Boost. That's definitely interesting. I'm just gonna go for the Thunder Wave. I have nothing to risk whatsoever. And I get hit with an Aeroblast. I really have no idea what he's doing at this point. I'm just gonna click Stealth Rocks. It's free. I have no reason not to. He goes straight into Gengar. Now, I'm gonna go for Thunder Wave because I'm not going to go straight for the Precipice Blades as he tries to go for the Hypnosis. Now, let's watch Mega Gengar disappear. A little unfortunate that he missed Hypnosis, but you know what? It's Hypnosis. You're not going to hit. That crit absolutely did not matter in any way. So let's see what he ends up going to this time. If he's smart, he'll go straight into Arceus Psychic. Why do you have Arceus Psychic? I'm not sure. I'm just gonna click Thunder Wave. As he's Cosmic Power. Okay, that's actually a little annoying. But I have Arceus Dark, which I will proceed to go straight into. Because this Arceus Psychic is actually looking slightly annoying. Sorry about that, I'm a little sick right now. I'm just gonna go straight for the Combine because this Arceus Psychic is actually looking like it might be a minor problem. And we're gonna end up in a boosting war, which I'm perfectly fine with because I don't even think Arceus does learn I don't even think Arceus learns how to use stored power, and even if it does, actually let's find out. /learn Arceus as he Swords Dances. What? Okay, this is actually looking a little annoying. Arceus cannot learn Sword Power. Okay, I'm just gonna go for the Judgment because this is actually becoming a little terrifying now. As I'm able to do 57% as he Sword Dances again. I'm not exactly sure because I don't think Arceus learns Baton Pass either. As he doesn't even go for the Extreme Speed. Yeah. That was a thing. Nice and standard. I'm definitely happy to see a standard team. Very much appreciated. As unfortunately he has Deoxys Speed, which is annoying. I more than likely have to lead off with my Klefki because I want to paralyze it right away. And I'm willing to trade spikes with it because I definitely want to go straight for the Thunder Wave. He has nothing on his team that wants to take it. And if he wants to switch out into his Primal Groudon, I'm fine with that because I do have a check or two on my team, being my Arceus Dark, which, well, kind of a soft check, it's not the best. My Rayquaza with Surf, and I also run a little bit of speed on my own Primal Groudon, but he's going to let me Thunder Wave it. That's unfortunate for my opponent. I'm just going to set up a layer of spikes but if he switches, I will be able to break his Focus Sash, which is good. He does stay and he goes for the taunt, so me getting that paralysis is actually really unfortunate for him. But now I'm able to get off of Play Rough as he sets up the Stealth Rocks. And I'm just going to go for Play Rough again. I really have no reason not to. And I'll be able to have my Klefki healthy later for his Xerneas. Hopefully I might be able to get a special paralysis, which I do. That's very fortunate. Hopefully I just don't miss the Play Rough. And I'll be able to take out this Deoxys Speed, and all it'll be able to do is get up Stealth Rocks, which will be really nice, actually. So, if I were my opponent, I would switch straight into Primal Groudon to try to capitalize on Klefki and just save Deoxys for Death Fodder later. But let's see what my opponent wants to do. He might just stay in with the Deoxys and use it as fodder now, and then bring in Groudon later. I'm not really sure, but if he does anything besides bringing in Groudon or staying in, it's not exactly in his best interest, as he does just stay in, probably hoping for the Play Rough miss. But the taunt wears off, so I'm in a really good spot because he can't set up with Xerneas, otherwise I'm going to paralyze it. He does go straight into Primal Groudon, which is unfortunate, but I have to play around it. And I think I'm just going to go... I want to go straight into my Rayquaza, but I know it's not in my best interest. Arceus Dark is looking kind of useless, considering he does have the Xerneas and the Genesect. So I have to play my Arceus Dark carefully as he pulls out the Rock Polish, which is definitely scary. I have to be careful now because this thing could potentially end up sweeping me if I'm not careful. As he does go for the sword stance, I'm able to get off a nice judgment. I get a crit, which is really unfortunate for my opponent, because now he's in E-speed range from my Rayquaza. That's really unfortunate for my opponent. As he just completely annihilates me. But I'm going to, again, I'm going to take full advantage of that. I'm just going to go straight to my Rayquaza, and I'm just going to go straight for the extreme speed, because this is a threat. This is what we call a threat. Now, if that had not happened, had I not gotten that crit, I would have been forced to go into my Salamence, gone straight for the frustration, hopefully dodging a Stone Edge in the process, and if I didn't dodge a Stone Edge, like, I was not in a good position at that point. I really had, like, I needed to either dodge a Precipice Blades, dodge a Stone Edge, or something along those lines. But he's gonna go into his Gengar at this point. Gengar is looking like a minor threat. I think I'm just gonna go into my Groudon, because Groudon, well, it's really nice. I do want to keep my Rayquaza healthy. And right now, Groudon is looking like this is looking like a pretty good opportunity to bring it in, as he goes straight for the Sludge Wave, which is perfectly fine. He gets the Poison, which is a little unfortunate. Now, at this point, I'm in a position where I can actually just go straight to the Precipice Blades. I really have no reason at all not to. I could set up my Stealth Rocks. I could go for the Thunder Wave, but being able to knock out that Gengar is actually really nice. And if he goes into either his Arceus or his Xerneas at this point, if he goes to Xerneas, I don't agree with that play at all. Unless he's like some weird substitute variant, I'm just gonna go straight for the Thunder Wave, because I'm in a prime position to, and he doesn't know that I have the Thunder Wave. So let's see if he ends up going for the Geomancy. He does. He gets the Power Herb, which is pretty good. And I'm just going to spam the Thunder Wave till I die, because I do not want him to be an Aromatherapy Geomancy set and be able to get out of this without a Paralyze. So I'm just going to click Thunder Wave again, and unfortunately, I probably should have clicked Precipice Blades. I didn't think I would actually be faster, just because I'm not running any investment, but you know what, Paralysis is minus 6 essentially to speed. It's 1/4 of your speed. Now, at this point, I'm in a pretty good spot where I could go into my Klefki and actually start. I probably should do that, actually, even though I do want to keep my Klefki for that Genesect. I'm not going to get another opportunity to nuke something, so I'm going to go straight into my Rayquaza, and I'm just going to click Dragon Ascent, because if he wants to save his Xerneas for whatever reason, it's not going to be a good play, because I do have my Genesect and my Klefki, and by doing this, I don't lock myself into any one move, because I need my Salamence to be healthy. As he's able to live, let's see if he gets paralyzed. Probably not. Oh, he does. Which, that's really unfortunate. I've been getting really lucky this session. I'm just going to go for the Dragon Ascent. I was able to... Like I said, I've been pretty lucky, even though a good amount of it didn't really matter. Like, I did not need my Rayquaza here. If anything, this just allows me to get off extra damage against E-Killer, or to discourage him from trying to set up. If he goes in, as he does go into the E-Killer, I pretty much figured he was going to be E-Killer based on the structure of his team. And I'm just going to go for Dragon Ascent. If he wants to kill me off with the E-Speed, I'm perfectly fine with that. As he goes for the Sword Stance, which is, again, perfectly fine. Now, that crit did not matter because I still have my Salamence, and I'm running enough investment so that at +1, a Adamant Life Orb Extreme Speed will only do about 50%. So even if he crit me, he could not kill me. So, let's find another battle. I'm approaching the 35-minute mark, so I'm gonna try. So this should be our last battle for today, and this is Sticky Web Offense. Sticky Web Offense is something that I don't see too often in Ubers. but it's definitely something that you have to prepare for. And I see a team that absolutely gets shredded by Mega Salamence if I'm able to set up, which is really good. He also doesn't really like Arceus Dark all that much. I do have to be careful because he does have that Lucario, who you don't see it all the time, but it is still a prominent threat. I think I'm just going to go with my Genesect yet again, because if he does lead with the Shuckle or possibly the Kyogre, I don't think he's going to lead with Ho-Oh. He might lead with Rayquaza, which if he does, I'm just going to go straight for the Ice Beam. I don't think he's going to lead straight off with the Arceus either, which, based on the look of his team, it might be E-Killer, but I'm not sure if it's going to be E-Killer. He might be Adamant E-Killer, if anything. I'm able to get the special attack boost, but he is able to get his Shuckle in for free, which that was pretty safe lead by my opponent. I'm just going to go straight for the U-turn. It's probably only going to do about 30%. I'm not assuming the Shuckle is probably special defensive. Why do I keep getting so much hacks? I don't understand this. I'm not asking for it. But that pretty much confirmed to me that my opponent is almost guaranteed to be physically defensive, and Rayquaza will not be able to knock it out. So at this point, I'm going to go into my Groudon, and I'm just going to go straight for the Stealth Rocks, because by going for Stealth Rocks, it will limit his Ho-Oh and his Rayquaza tremendously. And if he does set up the Sticky Web or anything like that, he's gonna be forced to defog it away with potentially a support Arceus. So I'm just gonna go straight for my Stealth Rocks, as I said, because it's just my best play in general. And if he wants to set up the Sticky Web, it'll be annoying. It'll actually be pretty annoying, but I don't think it's gonna be that game changing. So let's see what he ends up doing. I'm going to pause it for right now till he either makes a move or times out. Let's see. Okay, so my opponent did make a move. He ended up going for the Toxic, which it wasn't a bad play. He was able to get a Toxic off on my Primal Groudon, which kind of sucks. But I'm just going to go for the Precipice Blades because it hits most of his team hard. And I really don't want to reveal that I have the Rock Slide just yet. And I'm just going to go for it one more time. And he ends up predicting my switch out and goes for the Toxic again. I'm just going to go for another Precipice Blades. I do want to keep my Groudon for his Kyogre as he goes straight into Ho-Oh, which is kind of what I wanted. Now, let's see how much speed investment he's got on the thing. I'm just going to go straight for the Rock Slide. If he's Choice Banded, well, I have to sack anyway, and Groudon isn't going to be that useful, because I did get up my Stealth Rock, as he goes for the Earthquake, and I'm going to completely destroy him with a Rock Slide. And that's going to be a double down, which is good for me. Like I said, he did go for the Earthquake, which that doesn't look like Choice Banded at all. It looks more like a bulky offensive Ho-Oh, but I could just be underestimating Groudon. But I really don't think I am. Okay, at this point, he hasn't got a Sticky Web, so I have a very safe bring in with my Genesect. If he goes with the Rayquaza, I can Ice Beam. If he goes with the Arceus, which is also perfectly fine. Unfortunately, I don't get an attack boost, which is what I wanted, but I can play around it. So I'm just going to go straight for the U-turn, as he's more than likely going to Swords Dance. And this gives me a free switch into my Salamence, which the U-turn plus Stealth Rock damage should put him in range should put him in frustration range, but I'm still going to have to be careful. His worst case scenario is I end up having to kill this thing with priority, which pretty much means my Klefki to T-Wave him, and then revenged with Rayquaza, but if I have to, I will. It's not the end of the world. So I'm going to pause it again. I do apologize about the pausing, but my opponent is taking too long, so hang on one second. Okay, as my opponent does just stay in, as I said, I'm just going to go straight to my Salamence, because I do have the Intimidate still. I have not Mega Evolved, which is good. I do have to take Stealth Rock damage, but as he goes for the defog, which actually puts me in an amazing position because I'm going to be able to get off I should be able to get off a frustration, or I could try to sweep, but this puts me in a great position where I can possibly sweep with my Arceus Dark later. I think I'm just going to go for the frustration anyway, because I should, unless he goes for the Will-O-Wisp, which wouldn't be the end of the world, as he Sword Stances. What? Okay, I just get a kill now. Swords Dance, Defog Arceus. I've seen a lot of things. That's a new one. I'll admit that. That is a new one. So now I can easily live. Unless he's like Adamant Life. Even if he's Adamant Life Orb and crits me, I can still live. Because max damage from Adamant Life Orb, yeah, was... Yeah, even if he crit me, it didn't really matter. I'm able to get that kill. If he brings in his Kyogre, I want to save my Salamence just to hit that Kyogre with a frustration. It'll be, his team is really in just bird spam range as he goes straight into the Kyogre. And he's actually normal Kyogre, which I have not seen since X and Y. So I'm just going to go straight for the I'm just going to go straight for the frustration as he ends up being Specs. Not Specs, Scarf. So that's unfortunate, but at this point I have to go into my Genesect and I have to click U-turn because this Kyogre is actually a threat. And I did lose my Groudon, so I'm just going to go straight for the U-turn because it'll weaken Water Spout's power and I can bring in my Klefki and set up some spikes. And by having the attack boost, because Kyogre does have a monstrous special defense, I'm actually in a really good spot right now. I did lose my Salamence, but it wasn't the end of the world because it was going to be in priority range anyway. And if Shuckle had Encore, he was easily going to be able to Encore me into either Roost or Dragon Dance. But I was in priority range anyway, so it wasn't the end of the world. So let's see what he ends up choosing to do, because I'm definitely clicking U-turn at this point. So I guess back in a second when my opponent makes a move then. Okay, he actually stays in, and I already know he's definitely Scarfed and locked into Water Spout, so I'm going to be able to get a free switch in my Klefki, which will be able to get up a layer of spikes, which is really good for me, as that actually does a decent amount of damage. Yeah, I'm actually just going to set up a layer of spikes because I can easily bring my Genesect again and just click U-turn yet again. And the only thing I have to be careful about is that Lucario as he brings in Shuckle. Okay, he obviously didn't want to get that thing paralyzed, but if I can get up more spikes, I will be able, I'm going to be in a really good position. I'm not that concerned if he sets up Stealth Rock at this point, because I don't have anything with Focus Sash. Genesect is healthy, and I'm pretty sure I'm in a good position, as he does end up having the Sticky Web, which, let's see, he's running Sticky Web, Stealth Rocks, Toxic. He's got to have Encore. It's the only thing that makes sense. Unfortunately, I definitely have to get that third layer of spikes because now my Rayquaza is going to be even more useful because now I have to kill his Kyogre with priority. Slightly unfortunate, but I can play around it. It's not a big deal. I'm just gonna go straight for the play rough because at this point I should be able to two-shot the Shuckle, possibly three-shot if it's actually that bulky. And if he switches into anything, I get some residual damage, which will be really nice. So let's see what he ends up doing. It's good to find out that he's actually running Scarf Kyogre. Unfortunately, I had to lose my Groudon early, but you know what? I can play around it. It's not really that big of a problem. So let's see what he ends up doing. Because he's in a bit of a situation right now. As I do take Rocky Helmet damage, which I completely had forgotten about. That's a little unfortunate. I think what I'm actually going to do is I think I'm actually going to go straight for the Thunder Wave, knowing he can't touch me, and I just want to get a little bit of extra leftovers recovery. Like I said, it looks like pointless stalling. That power didn't matter at all. He already, like I said, unless he had Encore, there was absolutely nothing he could do there. So I'm just going to go for the play rough again. Again, I just did that because I wanted extra leftovers recovery, and just on the off chance that he switched. So I end up getting another paralysis. Again, I really don't think any of this ends up mattering. Yeah, feel free to call me lucky if you want. You'll see in some of my other battles where I just get severely hacked. How can I put it? Hacks to shit, okay? So right now, like I said, none of this hacks is mattering whatsoever. So I'm just going to go straight for another play rough. He's completely forced to sack his Shuckle, which I'm perfectly fine with. If he does go into the Lucario after this, which I recommend, unless he has as I do unfortunately miss, and he's just spamming Toxic, so it doesn't even matter. What I probably should do, now that I think about it, is actually to try to set up. I know Arceus isn't going to set up yet, and I need my. Yeah, Arceus is going to get outsped by Rayquaza. Sticky Web. Yeah, I have to play carefully. Actually, this is like my only opportunity to try to set up with Arceus Dark, assuming he doesn't have Encore, but you know what, I'm just going to kill him. That was my original plan, I'm just going to kill him. If he does, I said, if he goes into the Lucario, which is what I would recommend him to do, I'm going to go straight for the Thunder Wave, because I want to make sure that anything on my team outspeeds his Lucario. If he goes straight, like, how much is my Rayquaza? My Rayquaza is healthy. His Kyogre is looking like a complete non-issue right now. I'm going to have to sack one Poke, but it's not going to be anything important. And Rayquaza shouldn't really be that bad to deal with right now. Unless he pulls out, like, Swords Dance right now with his Rayquaza. That's the only thing that might be an issue. But I don't really see it being too big of an issue at this point. Like I said, he was able to get his Sticky Web up, but I was able to get up 3 layers of Spikes. So I should be in a prime position to win this game. If he goes into Kyogre, he's throwing the game. He has to either go into his Lucario or his Rayquaza, as he does just go straight into the Kyogre. Now, I want to keep my Klefki, and my Arceus Dark is looking completely useless at this point, except for possibly taking a hit from Rayquaza, but I don't really think that's a big deal. Actually, I think I'm gonna sack my Klefki. I should. I know. Yeah, I'm just gonna sack my Klefki. I'm gonna try to get a paralysis. If I can, perfect. If I can't, big deal. Doesn't really matter, as I just get completely annihilated by the Origin Pulse. Okay, so at this point, I have a pretty safe switch into my Rayquaza. And I'm just going to go for the Extreme Speed because I don't want to take the defense drops from using Dragon Ascent, as well as he's also in Spike's range. And if I do this, his Mega Lucario shouldn't be that big of an issue. As I said, he still has potential to win this game, but I just have to play carefully. I'm just going to knock him out with the E-Speed again. I don't want to take the defense drops. If he does go into his Lucario, I'm definitely clicking Origin. I'm going to click Dragon Ascent, because he should not be able to knock me out with either one of his possible priority moves. And if he sets up, he's just going to disappear. So I'm going to go for the Dragon Ascent. Let's see what ends up happening. This is actually a pretty good game, I'll admit that. And he just gets completely annihilated. Because he doesn't go for the priority move. And if you don't know, my Rayquaza, I'm actually running Jolly on it. Not Jolly, I think I'm running Naive. But Lucario doesn't gain the speed boost until after it Mega Evolves. Yeah, I'm actually running Hasty. As he goes straight into his own Rayquaza, and I'm just gonna click Dragon Ascent because I don't want him setting up. Because setting up is the only way he could possibly win this game at this point. Because I can easily live one hit from my Arceus Dark. And if he sets up, I'm in a really bad spot. So let's see what he ends up doing. I think the only, as I am able to hit him with the Dragon Ascent, that does a crap ton. As he destroys me with Dragon Ascent. And does he have a Life Orb? Nope. But he forfeits. So the only way like I said, that was my game at that point. But I think that's going to be it for today. It's been actually 50 minutes. So, pretty good session. I'll say that. Had a few people, hacked a few people. I'm actually kind of surprised I got that lucky. I think I actually won all my games too, which, you know what, it's not the end of the world. Last guy was pretty good, I'll admit that. Either way, if you like this, leave a like if you want. I'm going to be uploading mostly Pokemon Showdowns. I play all tiers. I'm going to try to get into doubles. I want to learn it, even though I've never actually tried it before. But I mostly play OU. I do play UU. RU is actually one of my... RU and Ubers are actually two of my favorite tiers. At least Ubers was before ORAS. So I'm trying to get back into it. This is actually my only Ubers team right now. And the only tier that I'm not too fond of is NU, but that's just because NU is just horribly unbalanced right now. So we'll end up seeing where things are going. And like I said, if you like this, feel free to check me out if you would appreciate it. And until then, later.